Honorable Men Discord. Fat Joe clowns Joe Budden for sitting in the row behind him at a Knicks playoff game. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
All right, welcome back to another episode. As always, I'm glad you're here to join me. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. So if you're unaware of what's been going on lately, Fat Joe on his own podcast, along with Jada, Joe and Jada, as you see beside me, he went on to speak on his time at a Knicks playoff game where he was sitting next to 50 Cent, and behind 50 Cent was Joe Budden and Joe Budden's lady. So Fat Joe speaks on that event on his podcast. Let's get straight to it, and then I'm going to have the Joe Budden rebuttal to what Fat Joe had to say. So let's get into it.
New York, you the king of everywhere. Let me tell you something, bro. They fashion week, everything come down here, everything touch here. So, last night you go to the Knicks game, they got the Kardashians all front row. Like, this is like, let me tell you something. New York got a lot of stars, like celebrities, big time stars. Like, it's like they putting them up a deck now. They ain't just courtside. It's too many. There's too many superstars in New York City. If you look at it, the Kardashians is there, the Bad Bunnies is there, the Cardi B's, the Stephons, the this one, the that one, the Sopranos, the this, the Tina Fey's, the this. It's just too many stars in New York City. Now, if we were somewhere else in the B market or C market, that shit open all day. The courtside is open. This is a hard ticket to get.
Hard to get a ticket.
Hard to get a ticket.
I heard that. What was the most expensive ticket for the game? What, 500,000? Something like that? 130,000?
I don't know. It was 54,000 a seat. The game I went, I was tempted to sell it.
Or something like that.
I would have never caught a ticket again. You know that shit was 54,000 a seat.
That's crazy. I would never do that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What?
I ain't paying 54 a ticket.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
Well, I've done it.
I can do a lot with 50 grand.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
New York Knicks, a Knicks floor seat experience is like a bucket list of life that, you can cross that off.
I kind of did it for free, so I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why I would never pay for the ticket. I need
it. Let me tell you something, man. I've paid that much, even more for boxing matches.
Nah,
like
I'll do that.
where, the shit is crazy because your man Edgar Berlanga, my little man Edgar Berlanga fight Canelo. I'm out there with my family in Vegas. His manager, they gave me some suspect. Suspect for me is I'm not going 10th row. I'm not going 5th row. I gotta be front row.
So you want all the
Because somebody you don't like, your enemy, gonna come sit right at, we call that the Joe Budden seats. Them second row.
I don't even got
You ain't got a hoodie?
I don't even got a hood.
Yo, listen. Them second, third row, I can't do it. I gotta sit front row. I'll give you my experience.
What do you call them seats?
The Joe Budden seats. Them shit second row. Perfect example. Him and 50 got some shit, and I'm sitting courtside, and 50 comes sit.
He was right behind y'all.
Okay, but he's behind us.
Those were still considered floor seats.
Those
if you know
are
anything.
Listen,
I didn't know that.
It's AA and BB.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the man had a little something going on with 50, and why God put 50 Cent front row, and he's in like third row. Like, that would bother me if I was Joe Buttons. It happened to me before. When we just squashed
if he didn't bump in the fifth, would he have a nice experience?
You got a good seat, but the problem is you got to always expect the enemy might come front row.
Yo, what are you,
No.
what are you thinking?
This man is
Trying to tell you the truth.
It's history. The internet is not like a real place. I would expect Fat Joe to know that. If I'm at the Knicks game, it's just because I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not out here running around moving with the leverage of my management company or trying to be buddy-buddy or friendly with rappers that I'm not really buddy-buddy or friendly with. I'm the walking embodiment of standing on my own, too. And you know that, which is why you're using my name on your newly established platform, trying to get traction because I'm the best in the biz. I recognize that too. Lastly, I just don't know what Joe Budden seats mean, and because I have so much relationship equity with Fat Joe, I'll wait for him to tell me. I don't want to assume. Be clear, reimagine how y'all mention my name in some of these conversations. I make a lot more than you.
I don't know what anyone's thoughts is on this, but I'm going to put it like this. Fat Joe decided to term the second row or any row thereafter that's not courtside the Joe Budden seat. So whatever Joe had to say in response to that, it's fair game. That's how I see it. It's fair game. And Joe Budden pretty much bodied him with what he said. Now, whether or not Joe Budden makes more money than Fat Joe, I can't confirm that. I'm not even trying to confirm that. Because at the end of the day, both Fat Joe, Joe Budden, 50 Cent, they're all doing well for themselves. And that's a good thing. So, the Joe Budden seat. Hey, I would be happy with either one of the seats. Either one of those seats at especially a playoff game. Come on. Like, what are we talking about, Fat Joe? A Joe Budden seat? As if it's a bad thing? I guess, when you have a name or you're a celebrity, for some, because I don't think all celebrities care about being courtside per se, but, the average 9-to-5er will take those seats. The Joe Budden seats, I'll gladly take the Joe Budden seats with a smile, right? But Fat Joe, if you watch the full episode, he actually explained why he had an issue. He somewhat explained it in the clip that I showed, but he at the time when he wasn't getting along with 50 Cent, he spoke about how his wife purchased tickets for some type of event and 50 Cent ended up sitting in front of him, and it just made it odd. Or it might have been during when they weren't getting along, or just when they just finished patching things up after Chris Lighty's passing. But in any event, he said he didn't feel comfortable with that, and he vowed and told his wife, listen, never again have me sitting anywhere but the front, because he doesn't feel comfortable with someone sitting in front. But Joe Budden made a great point. If there really was an issue with someone, do you want to be sitting in front of them or behind them? Right? Now, the issue that Fat Joe is alluding to but didn't explain is that when Irv Gotti passed away and 50 Cent made the post about smoking on a Gotti pack and stuff like that, Joe Budden on his network, the Joe Budden Network, spoke on it and said, 50 Cent needs, he basically paraphrasing, he said 50 Cent needs to seek therapy. He needs help. He's too old. Basically, he's too grown for doing things like that. And 50 Cent didn't really like it, and he went on a whole rant that he usually does on Instagram, responding to, Joe Budden saying that he needs therapy. So I'm assuming since then, both 50 Cent and Joe Budden haven't been in the same vicinity with one another until the playoff game, the Knicks playoff game. And so that's why, Fat Joe's speaking on it. But Joe Budden's correct. I do not want somebody, if I may have issues with that person, to be sitting behind me. Absolutely not. I need to be behind them, But as you can see, if you've seen photos or videos of the interaction between 50 and Joe Budden at the game, 50 turned around and at one point seemed like he was talking to Joe Budden. It kind of embraced him with a hug, a somewhat hug. So it's nothing serious, It's to the point where I think Fat Joe even mentioning it was a bad look, because if 50 Cent doesn't have a problem with Joe Budden and he's the one, both of them, had words to say towards one another or about one another, I don't know why Fat Joe decided to insert himself into it. Maybe just for the purpose of storytelling and content for his newly filmed show on YouTube. But what can you say? Joe's gonna do what Joe's gonna do. Like I've said before on previous episodes, he's very entertaining. Fat Joe is great at telling a story. He's one of the best to do it. I tell you, if you haven't seen enough interviews with Fat Joe, just do your due diligence, look it up. The guy is very entertaining and he tells a great story. He really grabs your attention and holds you there until the end because his storytelling is phenomenal. But that's all I have on this. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think Fat Joe was wrong for even saying that? Do you think there's nothing wrong with him saying that? What do you think about Joe Budden's response to Fat Joe? Do you think Joe Budden, that it was fair play for Joe Budden to respond to what Fat Joe had to say, or do you think he should have just left it alone? What's your thoughts? But that's all I have for today. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.